Hey there, and welcome back to Health, Wealth and Happiness. I'm James.
I'm Joe.
And today's guest has gone from bankruptcy to achieving a multi-million-dollar Saas business model. He's actually been on one hell of a transformation journey himself, going from 121 kilos down to 68 kilos. It's Xoto. Great to have you on board, my man. I'm really looking forward to diving into your story. How's it going?
Yeah, good, James. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Top man. Well, tell us a bit more about you then. First, just paint the picture for us. Who is Xoto?
I'm just, I was born in southwest London, a place called Slough, just outside of London actually. And basically I was a pretty creative kid. Always been into like music, videography, photography, that kind of stuff. And was pretty much just like, had one of those difficult periods when I was in my late teens trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. I thought I wanted to go to university and do music and that kind of thing. And I did go to university for about 2 weeks and basically left. And then I kind of like went into this spiral of going from job to job to job. Literally not finding any fulfillment and not really understanding why I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like I was doing a lot of different things. Like I started in banking, then I went into recruitment. I went into like selling sponsorships at events and things like that. So I've done a lot of different types of salesy type roles. And eventually it got to a stage where I'd gotten all the way into sales and I worked my way up into quite a good management position in sales. And I had like a pretty decent sized team and stuff. And that was quite a good time actually. But then I got made redundant. That was the 2008 market crash. And I just got sick of the whole sales thing and wanted to do something completely different. So I went into like accounts, which was a pretty terrible idea because I'm really shit at maths. And so I discovered, got into this really bad accounting job. And when I got into that job, I was actually engaged. I was supposed to be getting married in May 2013. And basically I got made redundant in about September, October time in 2012. So at the time to my fiance, I basically just said, look, like, I don't think I can work for anybody anymore. Like I've done this for a long time. I've worked about 9 or 10 different jobs and it's just not happening. And I know we've got like this wedding coming up and I'm Indian. So like our weddings are not like small, they're really big. And
how many did you have at your wedding?
Oh, I think they would have been close to 400 people, I think. It's pretty big. Do you know what, for an Indian wedding, that's
I was about to say that. That's quite small, isn't it, for an Indian?
That's like an average wedding for an Indian wedding. Like, I know some that have like close to 1,000 people. So, yeah. But you know, a lot of people for me, and it was a pretty expensive ordeal. So it was like, right, well, I know we've got to save all this money, but like, I'm not really going to be able to go and work for anyone now. So I'm going to try and do something else. And basically what I did was went online, went to Google, typed in how to make money online and was just like, right, where do I start? And I found all these different kinds of like systems and affiliate marketing, SEO, building micro niche websites and things like that. And, you know, the one constant that I saw was like, everyone was creating products, like, and digital products, basically. That was like the thing. And there was a guy in Wales called Alex Jeffries, who at the time was quite a well-known marketer in the internet, in the digital marketing space. He was like quite a known entrepreneur who was doing quite well. And he was teaching people how to start businesses online. So I just thought, he's in Wales, like Cardiff, a couple of hours away from me. Like if I just reach out to him and just see if I can get some like FaceTime with him, maybe I can get some guidance. So I started messaging him, and it took months and months of work, like probably close to 2 months, I reckon it took for Alex to actually respond. And I just said to him, look, like, I would love it if I could come out and do some photography and videography for you. And in exchange, if you could just give me some tips on like, kind of like what I could do, that'd be really cool. Cause I was always quite good with a camera. So I just thought like, it might be a good way just to, try and make a little extra money. So I was trying to do videos for businesses and stuff, but I really wanted to try and get in with someone who knew how to make money that I could just kind of like shadow for a while. So Alex eventually got back and just said, look, like, I'm not just going to like get you to do stuff for me. I'm going to need you to prove yourself. So he wanted me to go and basically shoot a video explaining why I want to work with him, basically. So that was difficult because I couldn't make the video with me being on camera whilst holding the camera. So I had to like get someone to pose as me on camera and then film it. And then I had to make the story up and then get them to like tell the story from my perspective. And the worst thing is the guy looks like me. So like for a long time he thought I was the guy, but I wasn't. So that was quite funny. But the maddest part about it was I didn't actually have a camera at the time because I'd sold all my gear for the wedding. So I didn't have anything. Like, so what I had to do was like reach out to this guy that I knew in school that had like a DSLR camera. And I just said, look, I need your camera for like a day. Let me just take it. I'll give it back to you. And he was kind enough to lend me the camera, took the camera. We took it out for a day, shot the video, sent it to Alex. And Alex was like, this is great. I think this is really cool. He shared the video in his like entrepreneurial circle, like on Facebook, and basically just said like, this kid's just shot a video for me. What do you think I should do? Like, should I take him under my wing? Should I like, what do you guys think? And then everyone was just like, this just shows like he's really like willing to learn, and he's got a lot of like passion for what he's doing. So maybe it'd be great if you like kind of showed him the ropes kind of thing. So Alex invited me out to Cardiff and said, I want you to stay with me for like a week or two, and I want you to shoot some videos. So I was like, all right, great. By the way, I haven't got a camera, so I'm gonna have to go and find out like where I can get one from. So I had to go and procure a camera like for a couple of weeks to actually go in and do this. And then Alex actually came and picked me up from Slough, drove down to meet me and picked me up and drove us back to Cardiff, and then stayed there basically for a couple of weeks. And it was pretty bad really because I didn't really have any money. So I wasn't eating anything when I was there. And I was just literally just cooped up in the hotel room, going into the office, back to the hotel room. And after a couple of days, Alex was just like, are you even like eating any food right now? So he eventually kind of like got me some stuff to eat and whatever else. It was pretty rough really, to be honest. It was a pretty rough couple of weeks. But whilst I was there, I listened to Alex tell his story, and I just thought like, this guy's got a really interesting kind of background, and it would be really cool if we just made a really small documentary piece on him, just like 5-10 minutes about who Alex is and what he does. And that's basically what it turned out to be. I just said to him, look, I just want you to get on camera and just tell your story. I'm going to interview you. I'm going to interview your wife and your mum and anybody else, and just get them to tell your story. And that video went on to be like a really pivotal piece of content for Alex, because it helped to launch him into like a different sphere, I suppose, of business coaches. And Alex still uses that video today. He's used it for all these years. And, in his own words, he said that video has basically catapulted him into a new league of coaches and helped grow his business in a massive way. So that was the video. You can still watch it on YouTube. You just type in marketing with Alex and you can watch the video. And from that, Alex just said, look, like, you need to stop shooting video for people and you need to start teaching them like how to do it, because there's no point you going and charging 5, 6, 7K, shooting a video. It takes weeks to finish it. Just go and teach thousands of people, and people will want to learn it. And when that video went out, a lot of entrepreneurs in the space were saying like, well, who made the video and how can we make a video like that? So that's basically what it all turned into. And I started creating a course. This would have been about January time, I guess, like just creeping after Christmas. So like I kind of got out, shot the video. It was all very quick, and had to start putting this course together. And when I was putting the course together, it's the first time I'm doing this. So it's the first time I'm learning how to build a website, learning how to like write copy, and put like all the stuff together. Like, it was all brand new to me, and I didn't have money to go.
Did you do everything yourself as well?
Yeah. Like, I didn't have the resources to go and get someone to do it. So I had to literally just kind of wing the whole thing and just put it all together. I asked people in the community, like in terms of the marketing world, just for tips and just tricks, and just asking questions when I needed to get little bits done. And eventually I launched that course in March. So just a couple of months before the wedding. And then I sold about 2,500 copies of the course over about a week. And I think it would have accounted to about 60K in sales. And it was good. You know, like I'd never made that kind of money before. And I just thought I was a millionaire, basically. And it just gave me the confidence and made me realize like, this is what I need to do. I need to do my own thing. And that was the beginning, basically. That's where it all started.
So you making that 60K from the launch, was that everything you needed for you to just say, listen, I'm going all in on this now. I'm just going to find a way to take this to another level. And no doubt you found the next level. What was that like for you?
Yeah, you know, it had ups and downs really. Like at one level, it was kind of like, okay, now I know I can do it. But on the other side, it was just like, I quite quickly realized that I don't want to just make courses. Like, I don't want to keep selling courses and doing this whole process forever, because I think it's just going to be it's going to be too much work for me to keep on doing that. It's going to be draining. So what happened was like quite a long time had passed, I think about almost a year, where I was just trying to figure out how can I like scale my business without having to make a new course. Like, how do I make it an evergreen thing? And I struggled to really do it, if I'm being honest. And I was burning through my cash too quickly because I was just not sensible with what I was doing. Paid for the wedding and stuff, and that's cool. But then the money that I had left over, it was just not being sensible with it at all, really. So I learned a lesson there just on just how to be how to be smarter with what I'm doing with my cash. And eventually, I just thought, you know what, running out of cash, so I'm just going to do it again. So I created a second course. And that course actually went on to do like 150K. It was a lot bigger.
What was the second course?
The second course was pretty much the same as the first one. I just updated a lot of it, made it look a lot better, added some extra tutorials and things. Like the content was always pretty much the same pillars. It was just, I was just adapting some of the content. So for example, I teach people how to write a video script, for instance. Now, I've taught that like 100 times, probably in 100 different ways. And I still charge money for it every single time, just because I change the way that I teach it, or I'll add things in, or I'll take things away, and, you know, just renew it basically. So it was just like a renewed piece of content, but it was like, it looked a lot better. It looked a lot more expensive and fresh. I had my own equipment now, so, you know, I could make things look better. I took my time with it. And that course went on to do quite well. And then I didn't want to fall into the trap of running out of money. So I done a third course, which was about how to create videos with your mobile phone. So that was like exclusively just on like, it was called iPocket videos. It was literally just like shooting pocket videos basically. And then I basically just realized like, I need to get out of the course thing because it's not sustainable. And I need to kind of figure out how to build software. Like, how do I get into the software game? Because I noticed all these entrepreneurs that were, you know, selling billion-dollar apps, and people that were making a lot of money selling these kind of like software businesses. So I was like, that's what I really need to kind of figure out and get into. So I started dabbling.
Did you have any experience in coding or software, or?
Nah.
You just decided, oh, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. It was just like, I need to sell software, so I've just got to figure out how to do it, basically. I didn't know anything about software, and I still don't, by the way. I can't write code. It's not what I do. And I'll get on to kind of how we overcome that, because the interesting thing is my business partners are just the same as me. They don't know how to write code either. But it's just you know, we could get to kind of how we did that in a little bit. But I partnered up with a couple of people over a variety of different software products, and all of them bombed. None of them really sold, and it was because the product wasn't great and the marketing wasn't on point. It was a new thing for me. Like, I wasn't really clued up on selling a software product, so it was quite new for me to try and adapt to that. But then, as they were kind of failing, I was like, shit, like, I'm going to need to make another course because this isn't working. So I didn't want to make the same course. I thought what I'll do is I'll teach people how to make animations instead. The only thing is I didn't know how to make animations. So I was kind of learning how to use After Effects, Adobe After Effects, the animation tool. And I thought what I'll do is I'll just create a course on how to do that. So as I started learning it, the one thing I really wanted to do was like animate my logo. And it just took so much work. Like, it was just like, I couldn't ever get it to work the way I wanted it to work. I couldn't make it look as good as I wanted it to look. And it was like, imagine there was this tool that could actually just do this. Like if I could just upload my logo to the app, and then the app basically animates my logo and spits out like a video file, that'd be great. And there just wasn't anything that was doing that. So that's where the idea came from, the concept of our software product called Viddyoze. And the mad thing as well is like that name, Viddyoze.com, I bought that domain name way before I thought about building software. It was actually supposed to be a tutorial website for creating videos, but it was never used. So that was the idea, that was the concept. And these guys, David and Jamie, they lived up here in the north, a place called Lancaster, and in Preston here. And I kind of like the idea of them being in the UK. I just thought like I could go and meet them, you know, sit with them and really get an idea of how they're doing it, because they actually had a software company already called Mobilio, which built like mobile websites. And it was like, right, how do I kind of tap into their knowledge and give them this idea, and then we just go and build this thing. So, you know, I met up with David and Jamie. We ended up connecting at an event in Liverpool, spoke online a little bit, and I gave them the idea and just said, like, can you do it? Like, and then David and Jamie went and basically built like a very simple MVP. It's like a minimal viable of the product. And, you know, it worked. Like it didn't look good, and it wasn't good at all really, but it did the thing. Like I could upload my logo and it made a video file out of it. So that was the beginning. Like, so that kind of proved the concept. As soon as I saw that the concept worked, it was like, right, that's it, we're going to sell this. So we started building all the marketing, doing all the videos, all the content, the pages, and everything that needed to be done, the collateral to sell it. But the product wasn't actually ready yet. But our philosophy has always just been to sell the thing first and build it as you go. And that's always kind of how we've done it. So we got to the launch, it was September 2015. And then the product was pretty much there, not 100%, but it was there. And then we went and sold it basically. And over the 4-day window, we done $460,000 in sales in that little window. And then what we did was we actually closed the product after the 4 days. So we didn't keep selling it. And then we reinvested the cash, built it back up, and then we sold it again. And then we did that with like an affiliate marketing model. So we built up these really good relationships with the affiliates in the digital marketing world and got them to basically sell the product. So the way we do that is with like event-based sales. So we'll set a date, like September 29th, 2015, that's the first one. And then, you know, 12 months later, we did it again, and then we did it again and again. And, you know, after a couple of years, we started tapping into like the paid advertising model and started scaling that. And that gave us a lot more control over being able to actually sell it in a more consistent and stable way. So, you know, the business has basically been profitable from day one. We started growing. We started growing we grew to about $1.5 million in 2015. And then on $1.5 million like annual recurring in 2015. And then by year 2, we'd probably stretched to about $4 to $5 million. And then we've just been growing it ever since, basically. I'm not actually supposed to say what we're doing revenue-wise anymore, because we're actually in engagement with KPMG, who's representing us right now. So what I can say is we got to a stage where we sold about $35 million of the product over the last year. And in these last kind of 6 months, the business has grown exponentially. We've done more revenue in the last 3 months than we have over the last couple of years, basically, like in terms of like the yearly number. So it's pretty much like exploded over the last couple of months. And we're in a position now where, you know, we've got some really, really interesting companies that are approaching us, wanting to partner up, wanting to merge, wanting to, you know, buy the company, wanting to invest in the company. So we're just in this really fascinating position now where we came from, I mean, you know, for me, this is just like a dream, basically. Like it's quite weird how it's gotten to where it is. Like we've got this mad building. It's like got our personality all over it. You know, we've got artwork all over the walls. We've got a floating meeting room. It's just mad. Like, and you know, I never saw myself being in a corporate world, and that's what I think I'm most fulfilled about, the fact that I'm not doing that 9 to 5 thing every day. It's like I'm in a building that I love, and it's vibrant, and it's like we've got people in here that make it feel alive, and got a great culture here. And it just led so much over the years just about building a company and building people as well. It's like, it's not just about me, David, and Jamie. It's like the people we've built here and the teams we've built and a real culture and a vibe that we've built and a brand that's been built over the years. You know, we've got over 120,000 customers, and some of the customers we've got are the biggest brands in the world. We've got Tesla, Sony, Vodafone, I don't know, PwC. We've got a lot of different big brands that are using the product, and you know, all started with me just basically selling a course for $17, basically, just to some random person in like. So it's just
I was gonna say, like, you consider success is huge, but like, obviously you spent so many years banking and like in your corporate job and everything else. Is there a defining moment for you where you go back to where it all turned for you, and you go to that moment that propelled you into where you are today?
Yeah, like the last job I was working in, it was so bad. Like, it was just monotonous to a point where, like, I was so demotivated at work. And my manager pulled me in and just said, Joey, like, you don't seem motivated right now. Like, and it's kind of rubbing off on people that you're sitting with. So we need you to, like, you know, be more engaged at work. And I just said, look, like, to be honest, John, like, I'm not motivated. Like, and then what I said was, you're not motivated either. And I can see it on you too. Like, and he was like, and he just basically lost his shit. And that's why I got sacked, basically. Because
what was that an accountancy?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I were a kid, so year 10, whatever that is, when you're what, 14, 15, when you do your work experience, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my auntie at the time worked for one of the big accountants in Sheffield. So I did my work, she was a receptionist there, and I did my work experience at that accountant's firm. And I was there for 2 weeks. And one thing I learned at the end of it was that I didn't want to be an accountant.
Yeah. It's a dry world.
Yeah.
It's not right. Like David was an accountant, my business partner. And that's why he's here now, because he didn't want to be an accountant. So it's definitely not where I wanted to be. The bad thing is, the reason I got into it was because, and I know it probably sounds really like childish, but I was a kid really. Like, but what I did was, right, what are the highest paid jobs I could get? And I literally just like looked at what the highest paid jobs were, and it was like, right, I'll get paid a lot if I'm an accountant, so I'll just be an accountant. And that's just how my mind works. It's like, I'll just do that. But it was just shit. Like,
so from early years, then you've always had that drive in you that you wanted to go and be successful. You wanted to find a route. There was always something in you that wanted that next big thing.
Yeah, like I think when I was young, you know, it was really like driven by money and that kind of thing. But now, if I honestly look back and understand that, I think it was just a lack of growth personally to understand what it really was about. And it's not really about money. It's so much more to do with just like fulfillment in life. Like I go to therapy every week because I have quite an anxious personality, and that's something that I've had to deal with over the last 10, 15 years, is just like understanding why I feel the way that I feel about certain things and why I get so stressed out and whatever else. And the biggest thing that makes me anxious is when I don't have a reason, or I don't have a road, basically. And it's like, if I don't have a destination to get to, like, I get really quite itchy feet. If I don't know where I want to go and what I'm trying to achieve, it makes me feel quite unsettled. So I just need direction, basically. And what this has given me is like a massive sense of purpose. And the sense of purpose is what really drives someone to be happy. It's like, it's like a great feeling. And we're getting to a point in our business now where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen with the business. Like, we might sell it in a couple of years. We might all exit. We might have other people come in and want to do different things with it. So it's like, there's quite a lot of uncertainty in the business right now in a positive way. But even that makes me feel a bit unsettled, because it's like I don't know what's going to happen. And it's just how I am. Like, I like, if I want to do something, I need to know what the reason is, and then that's kind of like how I go about it. And that's how I done the fitness thing too. That's what my mindset was with that. It's just like understanding what it is I want, and then I just try and go for it, basically.
Tell
I
us
must
about
admit,
that.
I was doing a bit of research on you earlier, and I found I saw a video from I think 2013, 2014. I wouldn't recognise you if I'm honest.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty like frightening when I look back at how different, how unhealthy I was back then.
So what
Um,
changed that?
Honestly, it was just having a kid. You know, like my kid was born in 2018, and it's just as soon as like I saw him, it was just like I can't like be like this, and having grown up, kind of thinking that this is okay. Um, that was the big driver for me. Really, it was like I need to get healthy so I can just be around for my kid and do things with my kid, inspire my kid. And I started in May 2018. He was born in April. And literally for about 19 months, I ate 1,900 calories a day. I had 160 grams of protein every day, and everything else was made up of carbs and fats. And it was so meticulous, like every day, the same foods every day, literally without a hitch. No Diet Coke, no pop, no nothing. It was just water, chicken, broccoli, rice, and then chicken and sweet potato in the evenings, beef in the morning, which everybody thought was absurd. But it was beef and broccoli in the morning, chicken and broccoli at lunch, chicken and broccoli with sweet potato in the evening, 2 protein shakes, and that was basically it. And I was just so fixated on like the end result. I just didn't even care. It was like I don't really care what the food tastes like. I just want to get to the end. And then after 18 months, I'd lost all this weight, and you know, I was muscular basically. Like it's been hard over the last 3 or 4 months just because of all the COVID thing. So it's been really difficult for me to like maintain like a healthy routine and actually like do it properly. But you know, it's fine. Like thankfully, like over the years and the stuff that I've learned about getting in shape, like I know that I can just go in and I can just do it. And that's what's kind of kept me sane over the last few months and being a bit more relaxed. But yeah, that was it. It was just it was so intense. Like we travel a lot. Like over those years, we traveled to, you know, all over the world in terms of the States and all over Europe and whatever else. And the problem is, like, if you're doing this kind of thing and you're traveling, it's not easy because if you're going to hotels and, you know, and stuff like that, like you've got to find a way to build your routine. So what I used to do was I used to take some oats with me and protein powder, basically. And what I would do is when I'd land, I'd look for a Whole Foods first thing. I'd never stay in a hotel. I'd make sure that I'm in an Airbnb, so I've got a kitchen. I'd always take a digital scale with me literally anywhere that I went. So I knew that I could measure my food. I take my protein powder with me on the plane just so that so I know that I'm gonna have the protein that I need. I don't have to go look for it.
You ever been stopped
in
an airport with it?
Well, what I used to do was like the powder box used to have to go in a suitcase, and then I'd take the actual shake onto the plane. So it was all planned out. Like I planned it out so perfectly. So I knew that right when I land, I'll be able to get the powder out of my bag, make a shake with some tap water, and then I'm good to go, basically.
I once nearly got arrested in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a Tupperware dish. Looking back, it was pretty stupid, but it was a Tupperware Tupperware box of protein.
Right.
Trying to explain that to a guy that didn't speak English, what it actually was.
Probably looked suspicious.
Saudi customs, yeah, took a bit of an effort, but yeah.
Yeah. Nah, it's just, you just got to do it. Like, you just got to find a way. And, you know, literally, like, I mean, I know I probably did my business partner's head in because every time he was booking flights, it was like, is there a gym? Is there a gym? Like, and then if there was a hotel, I would call the hotel in advance and just say, look, I'm going to be coming and staying. This is the food that I need. Are you going to have it? Kind of thing. And they'd basically make sure that I'm going to have the food that I'm going to have when I get there. Honestly, it was kind of ridiculous and obsessive, like when I was doing it, but that's how it had to be done. That's how it had to work. And I didn't want to break the pattern. I didn't want to go and like change what I was doing because just in case I had a cake and it'd be like, oh shit, that's it now. That I'm going to have loads of cake now and that's it.
I think it's a continuing theme we've seen with guests on this podcast is that most guests we've had on it have been really successful people and they've had like an obsessive personality almost, like they just get shit done. You're just going to turn up, and it's probably like Joe and myself as well. We're like that to a degree. So we can see why like really high-end businessmen like yourself may have those personality traits. I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about, you know, the anxiety side of things. I know you're quite open about it, the journey you've been on through that. Like, I mean, how do you manage that moving forward for anyone tuning in on the podcast right now, for anyone this relates to? How do you manage this then moving forward?
I think like what I've noticed with my anxiety, it's gotten a lot worse over time, and I think it just stems down to like the older you get, the more experience you get, but the older you get, the more responsibilities you get. Like, and you know, turning into a dad and trying to run a business, trying to stay healthy, trying to also maintain a level of balance in my life where I'm like doing normal things. It's hard, you know, like you just start getting pressure from all angles, and like it's in terms of managing it, like I go to therapy once a week. You know, like I've made sure that I've gone to therapy for years, like a good 5 years now that I've gone to therapy weekly, not with the same therapist, but
is that like CBT, or is that just like you're just talking things through? What's the approach of it?
So there's different types of therapy. You can have cognitive behavioral therapy,
Yeah.
CBT, which is literally based on reshaping the way you see things. There's psychotherapy, which can be more based on kind of like the present moment and dealing with things in the present moment. So there's different types of therapy, and the therapy that I get is kind of like a kind of a mixture of all. So there'll be sessions where we work on how I look at things. There'll be sessions where I can sit and talk about the things that I'm worried about, and then there's sessions where we're literally just focused on like how do I grow, basically. And a lot of the time, like the one biggest thing that I've learned is entrepreneurs, especially, have got anxious personalities. And I think what's really surprising to me is like a lot of them don't know. And then like it's like David, for instance. Like when I first met David, I could see instantly that he was really anxious, and he didn't know much about it at the time. He was just kind of like, you know, I'm going to the doctor every week because I keep feeling like there's something wrong with me, and I don't know why. And that sounds crazy. Like if you hear it from an outside perspective, it sounds crazy. It's like a hypochondriac personality. Now that's an anxious trait, and it's like, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means that you're a problem solver, basically. And when there isn't a problem, like a person, some people will look for a problem because they want to fix something, or they need to have a reason to kind of do something. So hypochondriacs basically are just looking for problems to solve. And the biggest reason that normally happens is because they haven't focused their energy on something else yet, or they haven't put their attention on something else yet. And that's what I find is that when I can really push myself into my work and just focus on my work, my anxiety seems to kind of like dispel, and it just kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But we can't always do that. Like we're human beings at the end of the day, and we've got interpersonal relationships. We've got, you know, we've got to have like fun. We've got to do things and be normal sometimes. And, you know, sometimes your relationships can be really difficult, like with your friends or with your partner or whatever else. And those things can cause stress. Your health can cause stress, and it can come from so many different places. But I think just having a way to just on a weekly basis going and being able to talk about it is a great way to like at least make some effort to try and change that.
Channeling it into something with purpose, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I think I speak from experience here, and I don't know about Joe, but I mean, how have you managed with your business growing so quickly? Burnout, stress, fatigue. Has that been something for you that you've had to manage? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, I've experienced two nervous breakdowns whilst working here. The last one was last year in August, and actually the last one was earlier than that. Like it was more recent, sorry. And the other one was August last year, and it was just because we'd worked at such an intense pace, like months and months, just like non-stop work, 15, 16-hour days, and you know, there's just so much to do all the time, and it's like your mind is literally just fixated on completing tasks, and you get to a point where you do burn out. Like it's just like you work so much, and then all of a sudden you just don't want to do anything anymore, and it's a little bit of like a defeated state sometimes. I mean, we have times where we'll come to the office, we'll stick on the PlayStation, and we'll just play games for like 2-3 hours. Like I remember last year, there was a period where I was just like playing Mortal Kombat like every single day, like coming into work. David and Jamie love playing FIFA. They love sitting on FIFA for a couple of hours, and it's like we don't give each other a hard time for it. Like it's just I know what you're going through, like, and I'll give you the space to like deal with it. It's cool. Like no one's gonna tell anybody off in here for feeling a little bit burnt out. Like we know how it kind of goes. It's a little bit weird with staff and stuff, like because they probably look at us and think like, oh, they're not doing anything. They're just sitting there playing games while I'm answering support tickets and whatever. But it's not as simple as that. Like, you know, and we try to kind of hide that element away from them. But, you know.
You're doing a great job talking about it in a podcast then.
Yeah. I think they know what the score is. Like they know how it is here. Like, you know, we'll have times where it's so stressful, you know, I can go off on one sometimes. David can sometimes. It just happens, you know, like, and it's everyone in here is really like is cool. You know, we've got a very good environment, I think, and we're all pretty transparent. You know, like everyone's transparent in here. We don't walk around like we're the boss, we're the manager, and whatever else. Yeah. We don't have that vibe here.
How many guys have you got? How many staff have you got?
So globally, we've got about 40 people. In this office, probably close to about 15, 16 people.
How important do you think it is having the right people? And obviously you mentioned Jamie, you mentioned David before quite a few times. How important do you think it is having the right people around you?
It's everything, really. You know, it literally is like the number one thing. I think like if you've got a bad business partner, it's already done from day one. It's just a matter of time, basically. And I think the really good thing with having two business partners is there's always 2 to 1. So if we can't make a decision, there's always going to be 2 people that kind of see it one way and one person that doesn't. So it's kind of like we could all make our peace with it. It's like, okay, well, I'll concede because 2 people are saying to do it this way, so we'll go that way. And I think that's really helped us.
All 3 are on the same page with that.
Yeah, you know, like we don't agree on things 80% of the time, like, but we've managed to kind of get through that by understanding that we're always just going to go with the 2 to 1 approach, like, yeah. Because we just believe in the numbers, basically. Like if 2 people think it'll work, then we just got to go that way. And it hasn't always worked. You know, sometimes the individual actually was right, but we're not going to dwell on it. We just carry on, basically.
Yeah, no, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from lessons.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep seeing your ads everywhere. I keep seeing your face everywhere, which is a good thing. Where's this going then? Where's the company going? What's the future for Viddyoze?
So basically right now, you know, we are in like a parabolic moment of the company. Like we're doing more money than we've ever expected to do. That's caused a lot of stress because we need to maintain our infrastructure as the customer base grows, as the demand on the software grows. Like everything has to grow in unison with the amount of money that's being made. So it's great, we're making all the money, but it's also quite problematic in trying to build it stably. Because when you got investors and stuff, and that's basically where we are. It's like, you know, last year we were looking at like maybe raising some cash, and it's not because we necessarily need cash. It's just because if you bring the right people in, they're going to have connections and strategy that we don't have. Like me, David, and Jamie have never sold a company. We've never taken a company to IPO. We've never, you know, grown a company to $1 billion before. That's what we want to do. You know, like we want to take this to $1 billion level. And to do that, we're going to need people that have done it before. So getting those people is going to involve bringing somebody in that has got the experience to do that.
Gotcha.
And we're in a position now where it's like, we're just looking for the right people. So we appointed KPMG literally a couple of weeks ago. They're the biggest in the world in terms of like doing these kinds of deals. And they're looking after that process for us, yeah. Bringing in interested parties, and hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have some answers as to how that's going to go, which direction it's going to go. But you know, we're just in a position now where our product is growing, the brand is growing, our competitors are right there. All of our competitors have had funding and they've got a lot more in terms of infrastructure than us, but we are making more money. So for our perspective, it's like our company probably should be able to overstep our competition once we bring in the right resources, once we bring in the right people. We should be able to really outperform our competitors in a big way. As you said, you know, our ads are everywhere. You won't see promos ads everywhere because I guess they don't know how to, or that's not their strategy. I don't know. But you know, for us, like we're just going absolutely HAM on like just advertising basically. Like we're spending.
You got
close to,
yeah. You've got an ATM, haven't you? You've got $1 in, you got $3 out, and then it's just backing up your putting money into it and just.
We're spending, you know, a lot more than $1 million a month right now just advertising.
Nice.
Pay-to-play. And we're profitable every month. So until that runs out, we're just going to keep putting it back, basically. And it hasn't run out yet, and touch wood, it doesn't. So we'll just see how it goes, really. But that's the pressure as well. It's like we have a forecast. We're supposed to hit those numbers now, because if we want these really big VCs, investors, PE, whatever, to come in and say, okay, like, you know, we'll put in a shitload of cash. We've got to do the job of like maintaining what we're doing. So
how many media buyers do you have right now running your ads? Do you have a whole team who are just basically just taking control of it, or
so we've got one like head of acquisition called Nick, who works quite closely with me, and then we've got 2 guys who do YouTube. Yeah, I mean, there's 2 guys on YouTube basically. So Nick looks after like Facebook, Google, Snapchat, Instagram, and basically he has a small kind of team that essentially helps him do all the admin day-to-day stuff. We've got copywriters, and then just like somebody that does our video scripts and our design. You know, we've got just a few people that basically help move it along, but Nick is like our central point in terms of acquisition. He does a lot, and he's got some really good people helping him push that.
Okay. So if you could do it all over again, what advice would you give to an 18-year-old Joey Xoto?
Avoid being an accountant.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Don't be an accountant.
Don't go into the accountancy.
Yeah, maybe just start faster, I guess. Like, you know, just take a risk quicker. Believe in yourself a little bit more. You know, I think I had a lot of self-doubt when I first started. Sometimes still do. Like, it's human nature. But I think like the more wins you have, the better you start getting at believing in what you can do. And I think as well, like, trying not to be perfect. Like, I think everybody makes that mistake at the start, is just trying to do like a perfect thing straight away. And I think the one thing I've learned over the years is just even if it's like half there, even if it's 10% of what you want it to be, just go for it. It's like when you get in the gym, like when you first start working out, you know, you've got man boobs and, you know, whatever else, like it's shit at the start. Like, and every day you go home and you work in the gym, you look at yourself and you're like, but is this even going anywhere? And it's just like, you just got to make it happen, don't you? You just got to keep moving. And just understand that it's a longer term vision in what you're building. And I think that's probably it. It's just like, look at the big picture. Don't try to be perfect. And don't be afraid to just make mistakes, basically, because they're going to happen. As hard as you try not to, they're going to happen anyway.
Gotcha. Love it, mate. I love it. It's been awesome having you on today. Where can the guys find you? Well, silly question, really. Viddyoze, but all platforms, where can they find you guys?
So if you go to viddyoze.com, that's the main website. YouTube is just Viddyoze. You'll find all our content. We're doing quite a lot on there now. Same on everywhere, really. Like, it's literally just Viddyoze, any platform, Instagram, Facebook. That's pretty much it.
Love it. I may have to get it myself, mate. Good stuff. Good stuff. Right.
Yeah, I appreciate having you guys giving me some time.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been awesome having you on, and we'll probably see you in the next one. I look forward to seeing all your success in the future. We'll keep close and we'll go from there. Guys, that's been the episode today. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Ciao.